It feels like, and this is another thing we say, it feels like all hell is breaking loose. Well, guess what? All hell is breaking loose. Hell is error consciousness. Hell is not having the highest perspective and view that we are capable of. We can put ourselves in hell. So yeah, hell consciousness is breaking apart. Joseph represents our highest spiritual consciousness. And his brothers represent some of those doubting thoughts that knock on our doors, especially when an event happens in our lives that feels upsetting. So we seek the indwelling presence. Emily Cady, one of our premier New Thought teachers, she says, sometimes we have apparent setbacks. Sometimes these periods come and we like to avoid them. But these apparent failures, Emily Cady says, are transition periods, taking us from an old belief consciousness to the new ideas consciousness, and there's a time in between, this transition period, where everything feels shaky. I was reading an article in a magazine called The Sun. It was written by a former traditional Christian minister, and he said the thing that shook him apart, that made his whole world shake apart, was when he received the divine idea that people come to know this presence that we call God in their own individual ways, and they don't really need a church to do it. He was a pastor of one of the mega churches. These times of transition, Emily Cady says, are times where we feel discouraged and disheartened. We consider ourselves a failure or our projects a failure. We go into heart sorrow, and it's a really good time to ask, what is God up to in this? She says there's an attitude that we can have. We can have the attitude of doubt, or the attitude of failure, or the attitude of giving up. I've been there. There's another attitude. And part of the way we deepen into this attitude is asking, what is this presence, this energy up to in our lives? What is this event really about? How can God, the good, the all good, unfold through me, through this event, in this moment? It's a really good question to ask. It's like a recipe. It's like God's recipe or Holy Spirit's recipe. So we have our spiritual practices. For some of you, it's the mala beads, it's chanting. For some of you, it's prayer and silence and meditation. Some of you, it's walking in nature, listening, going into the quietude, listening. God's recipe. But a lot of us, when we're in these times, will seek out everything else first but our spiritual practice. Am I telling it right or not?
Yeah.
So at our house, we've been picking lots of figs and making fig butter, right? And so the few people who've gotten to taste it so far, they say, this is so good, how do you make this? And I tell them, well, grab a pen and paper, it's going to be pretty involved. You put your figs in the pot and you add water, and then you cook it down. That's it. You can add a little cinnamon if you want, but you don't need it. The figs are so sweet. And we all get a good laugh out of that. You know, it's just so simple. It's God's own recipe, I told somebody recently. It's all goodness already in the fig. Just add some water, cook it down. And I love that as a metaphor, you know, when we add a little bit of Holy Spirit, when we add a little bit of faith, when we add a little bit of willingness to be present to the Spirit no matter what is happening around us. All hell's breaking loose. I choose to align myself with Spirit. I choose to align myself with the highest consciousness I know. We use God's recipe. Seek ye first what? The kingdom of heaven. Seek first that consciousness. A lot of us will spend some time dancing around with the doubts, the fears, the uncertainties. We'll forget that we're eternal spiritual beings, that we're the light of the world. Some of us will go dig up worms and eat them. But when we remember this light that shines beyond all events, beyond all disputes, beyond all sorrows, beyond all heartbreaks, this is the light that we are. God's own recipe. We look at chemicalization. We look at the upsetting events. Looks like everything's falling apart. The first thing we do with God's recipe is seek that holy presence within us, whatever your name is for that. We pause, we take a breath. We might even want to confess, I can't figure this out, so I'm just going to go into the holy presence, the temple of the living God. We feel after God, as Myrtle Fillmore said. And my friend Hilda, as you've heard me many times say, she always would say, I wonder what God's up to in this. I wonder what Holy Spirit's moving around in this event. I wonder what Holy Spirit's up to in this heart sorrow, in this upsetness, in this lack of clarity, in this discontent. I won't keep reading the list, but you know what I'm talking about. What is this energy and vibration, this presence, this holy presence up to in these days that we're living in that can feel upsetting? What is this holy presence up to? So I'd like to tell you a story. It's actually a confession, so listen carefully. Okay. So, as you know, David and I lived in Taos, New Mexico at one point, and we still go there to visit sometimes. And we were visiting our friend T in Ojo Caliente, up above Taos. And we had just been discussing this incredible idea of unity, of all of us being one. We had a great and wonderful conversation, the three of us, about this idea. It's taught in every culture. And so he's very close to the Tiwa Native people there and their culture. We cannot disconnect from spirit or one another. This is an idea that is throughout the human family. So we were talking about this lofty idea, all of us being one. And then we needed to pile in T's car and go up to the big tree down the road so we could check our cell phones, because it was so rural and out in the boonies that we couldn't get cell phone service. So we went up to the tree and we were checking our cell phones. Are you with me so far? Yeah. So up beside us comes a car with 4 young Hispanic men in it. In a split second, fear rose up in me. An old belief of I'm in danger. These young men look different from us. They are bigger than us. They're stronger than us. And in a split second, I'm pushing my purse underneath the front seat. I'm in the back seat. I'm pushing my purse underneath the front seat. I was in an old belief that I had to be afraid of people who look different from me. Now, I know about discernment. I pay attention to it. If I'm not supposed to walk down that road tonight and instead go that way, I pay attention to the discernment. But in that moment, there was nothing these young men did to even give me the idea that we were in harm's way. It was an old idea that bubbled up in me because 10 minutes before, I had been giving a great sermon to these two guys, David and T, on how we are all one. Right? So, within a few minutes, the young men, they check their cell phones, they're off to their next adventure, and we three are sitting there, and I told David and T, I said, wow, I just had a whole piece of inner spiritual work going on in me, and let me tell you what it was. And I told them about what I just experienced. And T said, well, the story gets even better. He said, do you remember about 10 years ago, you gave me a book called The Magic of Conflict by Thomas Crum. If you've never read it, it's pretty special. And he uses the whole teaching of Aikido and how instead of resisting the energy, you move with the energy, right? You don't fight it, you move with it. It's a whole martial arts system, Aikido. And with our thoughts and with our conflicts with one another, that instead of resisting and pushing against the energy, that we practice moving with the energy, working with the energy. He said, I took that book after I read it. He said, I gave it to one of the young men in my school. He was a school teacher. He said, I gave it to one of my young students because he was experiencing beatings from his father pretty regularly. And so I thought it'd be good for this young kid to read this book and work with the energy in his home. And he said, and then the miracle was, his father started reading the book. And the next miracle was that the beating stopped. I said, yeah. He said, one of the young men in that car was that boy. I said, well, I can't take it. Now, what a teaching. I had cast those 4 young men into a place in my mind that I didn't feel safe. It was all happening in my mind. And we do that. That's one of my experiences with chemicalization at its best. Instant. I thought I had this spiritual awareness of all of us being one, and apparently I had it intellectually. Because that huge divine idea was sitting in me up close and personal when this old belief went zing. Work with this, Missy. Right? See, I come from a childhood, a lot of you did have this experience too. We were told not to go into that part of town because of the color of their skin, and not to go into that church because of that false religion, and not to hang out with those people, because they're those people. But those old beliefs of separation, those unkind beliefs. And when we talk spirituality, when we decree that we have these spiritual ideas, that we have this spiritual understanding, you better bet we're going to get tested on them. That's why I've often said, why would they name the movement Unity? Because that's what we have to practice. Dang. So y'all, let's take a deep breath and let's celebrate that this is not a secret idea, this idea of chemicalization. This is not a secret idea. This is not written in sacred text and we have to go read all those texts to get it. We know it, don't we? We know that with our thoughts we can make ourselves sick, and we know with our thoughts we can make ourselves feel better. How many of us have had that happen? Come on. It's how many of us didn't want to go take an exam at school, and by golly, we manifested a sore throat so fast. Or you might have had props, like the time I stood over our family's big furnace, and I got really, really hot, and then told my mom I had a temperature. You know, you do the things, you know, that. So we can try to wiggle out of our inner work, but I tell you, it doesn't work. Spirit's gonna find us where we are.
Hound of heaven.
What?
The hound of heaven.
The hound of heaven. Oh, Reverend Jermaine. The hound of heaven. Yeah. Spirit will search us out and search out the deepest, darkest corners of our being, where we're holding on to beliefs that are not the highest and best. And we'll complain about it, and we will weep and wail and gnash our teeth and rent our clothes about it, but it's still going to happen. And it goes something like this: until you know yourselves as the eternal spiritual beings of God, you will have these opportunities to remember. God's on our side. The energy and vibration, it's on our side. The universe has our backs. The universe is working for our good. The all good is unfolding always, even in the times when we feel like we don't know what we're doing. So let's take a deep breath. First form of prayer, deep breath into the peace, into the wholeness, into the silence. Let us remember our good. Let us remember our wisdom, our peace. Let us remember our light, even when and especially when it looks like things are falling apart. Because the divine and holy presence is pulling things together in new and holy ways for our good. And we give great thanks. And we say, so it is, and so we let it be. Namaste.
Thank you, Reverend Margaret. Aren't we fortunate?
Yes. Yes.
We have good fortune. I hadn't thought about that story of Joseph and the coat of many colors in a long time.
Speaking of Mike, so closer.
Thank you, Gervais.
You're welcome. You're welcome anytime.
I hadn't thought about Joseph and the coat of many colors in a pretty long time. And I don't even think I ever got that lesson. I got some other lessons, I don't know. People can mean something for evil, but God uses it for good. Because, well, anyway, I don't need to go on. Everybody knows that story. Preach it, baby. And I want to say this affirmation. I want to take this home and say it this week. I know myself as an eternal spiritual being of God. I know myself as an eternal spiritual being of God. Shocking. Okay, we are going to have our wonderful time of giving. I love that. And please come forward. Yesterday's daily word was generous. So we're going to take these golden offering receptacles and pass them out and think. We keep our hearts open as we act upon our compassionate impulses and share generously. We understand that the source of all supply is God. We live with faith that sharing our supply will keep us in the flow of life. We relax into this flow and trust. We always have enough. And our offering song is, isn't this appropriate?
Yes.
Is going to be Hand It Over.
And your problems will go away, and your worries
receive gratefully.
We give generously and receive gratefully.
Oh, yeah. All right, next we have our fun announcements, which we love. And I have a little announcement I want to make. I just want to do this. We have so many wonderful people in Unity, and they come from all over. I love it so much. From all over the world, really. But there are some people that I'm connected with from long, long ago, and I want to welcome them because they come here, and I want to give them a special welcome from me. Is that okay, preacher? Yeah. And that is my friends. They're kind of my new friends, but they were friends with one of my oldest friends, my little sister in sorority at Carolina, Kathy Smith. Dee and Woody Cox are my friends. And there's so many ways. It's such a special connection with me to see that they're part of Unity now. We welcome you. We really do. And also, when I was growing up, I thought it would be the coolest. I lived in a small town up in the upper part of the state. I thought that I could never achieve this, but it would be the coolest thing on God's green earth to live in Pawleys Island. And a lot of y'all live there. I never made it yet, but maybe. But anyway, I want to say a special welcome to another person who's lived in Pawleys for a long time, and that is my first yoga teacher from 1984, Isabel Boyd. That's another wonderful connection among all my friends and people, God's children together. And then one more little announcement I want to make, Reverend Margaret, because she's going to make this too. We have a group meditation on Wednesdays. We have it at 1:30. We've been having it in the purple room in the house. And all we do is sit there for 20 minutes and meditate. And it is just fabulous. So this is my special invitation to everyone at 1:30. If you want to have something really special in your week, join us, please. And now, let's welcome back our spiritual leader for our wonderful announcements, Reverend Margaret.
I think you're doing a great job.
Well, you got to talk about Wally, I promised.
Margaret, could you also tell us about Wally?
Wally, you want to hear about Wally? Yes. Y'all weren't thinking about anything else during my talk but that. Well, I'll start with that. Reverend Wally White's going to be our speaker next Sunday. And he is the senior minister at Unity of Greensboro, North Carolina. And he has accepted a 3-year contract in the United Kingdom to be the director of the Daily Word and Silent Unity in the United Kingdom. So he sent me an email about 2 months ago and said, so, I'm probably going to be going, and before I go, I'd love to come speak at your church because I love your people, my people. And so I said, of course. So he'll be our speaker next Sunday, and his topic is the inception of peace. Y'all remember he was a protege, student, and friend of Della Reese and her church in Los Angeles. He was in TV, he was a director in TV. He's got a whole lot of fun stuff in his background, so he's always a fun speaker. So that's next Sunday. Okay, so now can I do the regular announcement? So we want to welcome everybody, even the ones who Cynthia didn't name. And anyone here for the first time. Would you like to give us your name and where you're visiting from? Yes.
Beverly Falls, Fairmont, North Carolina.
All right. Welcome. Anybody else? First time. Hi, Desmond. Welcome. Anybody else? Yes.
Philip Curtis and Barbie. We're from Greensboro and Pawleys Island.
Greensboro. Okay. And Pawleys Island. Okay. Well, you may even know Wally White because he ran for a political office up there a few years ago. You may know Wally White. Anybody else? First time. Okay. everybody is welcome. We will do Connect the Dots today in the back room of the house, and we will continue our dialogue about this topic of hold on steady and let it rock. The prayer box is over here with the prayer slips. You can put in your prayer request. It will be sent to Silent Unity. Your August month at a glance, y'all, it was just New Year's Eve, and now August month at a glance is out to tell you what's going on here in August. So that's on the back table, and on that back table, we've got some ongoing classes. We have a Wednesday book group. And here's something fun for all of you to know. We will be starting the new book, and I predict not this Wednesday, but the following one. And it will be Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. So join us for that. And then we do a 20-minute meditation after book group. So that's at 1:30. Thursdays, you get to go to A Course in Miracles. John Wilder is the facilitator for that. I sat in my office last Thursday and listened to what they were talking about in A Course in Miracles. I loved listening. They cover a lot of wonderful things. Now, there's a new Zoom class with Reverend Marilyn Maddox about spiritual and emotional maturity, again based on a book by Reverend Tony Boehm, who used to be the director of the School of Religious Studies out at Unity. On Saturday, August 1st, we will be using one of Reverend Tony Boehm's books, Spirit Synchronized Prayer. We've been using it every first Saturday of the month. So next Saturday is August 1st. And that will be our prayer class from 10 a.m. to noon. It's pretty powerful energy, so you're welcome to attend that. There will be a Unity Basics class in August. Kate Richter, licensed Unity teacher, will be facilitating that, and all that information is in the August month at a glance. Have I left any announcements out?
Can I do it from here? Can everybody hear me?
Yes. Except live stream will not hear you.
So you want me up there?
Just holler down.
Okay. So we're going to be doing what we annually do, is collecting school supplies for kids, to help the kids. We don't have a specific date, but it will be upcoming very soon. So you can start to buy supplies as we have been doing for the last 5 or 7 years.
Oh, honey, way back longer than that.
Longer than that?
Oh, yeah.
That's true. I'm older than I think. Anyway, you can start buying supplies for high school, for middle school, for elementary school.
Okay, so you will be providing a list, maybe?
I will be providing a list, but you'll almost know.
Yeah.
And we don't have an official date of when we are to have the supplies by, so you can start now.
And as I understand, the backpacks need to be clear.
Yes.
Yeah, clear backpacks with the school supplies in them. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Okay, everybody got that collection of school supplies? Yes, sir.
Then we cancel, potluck for next.
Yeah, no potluck next Sunday. Yeah, September potluck, we'll be back in the swing of things in the barn with lots of good food. But next Sunday we will not have a potluck. And that is an important announcement. Anybody else? Want to make an announcement? Okay. So we're going to do our updated prayer of unity, and you will find it on the blue cards around your chair. And I used to have one, but they're not here. Excuse me.
It went on the floor.
Okay. Y'all say the unity updated prayer without me. Okay, here we go. This was inspired by James Dillard Freeman. The light of God surrounds us, the presence of love enfolds us, the power of peace protects us, and the one presence that lives within all creation enlivens us. Wherever we are, love is, peace is, light is, God is, and all is well. Boom. Y'all, let's stand for our peace song, and then for those who want to attend the Connect the Dots in the house after service. Oh, it's great to see y'all. Look how shiny and bright you are.